Welcome to Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis. Today, I strung my cross and Coach Gru's cross 2 pounds lower last time. What happens if I go cross 2 pounds tighter this time? Stay tuned. Hey, Coach Chris.
Hey,
You string tennis rackets?
that's right.
We'll make a little extra cash.
Sure.
You know, with direct tennis, you can be the official stringer of your own neighborhood. You can set the distance, you can set the meeting place, and you can set the timing.
So I can string on a street corner?
You can set your own place. It's all at Direct Tennis, where they put players with stringers and stringers with players. Check them out at directtennis.online. Link is below. All right, so Coach Gu, I strung Coach Gu's racket 2 pounds looser on the cross last time. So 53.51 with his string, which is Torbite 15L. And I did my own with what we'll just keep confidential at 16L at 55.53 last time. And we gained more spin. We gained a little bit more spring. It launched a little bit higher, so the launch angle became a little bit more. When you loosen the crosses, it allows for the mains to move freely a little bit more. But what happens when you tighten it up by 2 pounds? So I did my own at 55.57 now. I did Coach Gu's at 53.55 now. What's going to happen? Is it going to feel what? Is it going to feel tighter? Is it going to not allow for the mains to move so freely now? Will we have to hit through the court? Will we have to hit flatter? Those are the questions we're going to answer. Stay tuned. All right, so we just finished up. I marked the one that I strung.
Oh, I know. It's right here. Yeah.
And he saw it immediately. I was trying to hide it from him.
Yeah, he never. And as you can tell, I have some insecurities with Harrier at this point. Yeah,
And-
so this one's
and he
marked.
should. Okay.
So that's
now,
marked.
What did you feel? He still doesn't know. I haven't told him what I
He
did.
didn't tell me anything as per usual.
What did you feel in the difference?
I think with the marked one, I felt like it was a bit stiffer. I felt like, not stiffer. Sorry, it's just a little more tighter than usual. I felt like I was playing with it with one of my good buddies. Shout out to Jerry Jang. But I was hitting with this, and I was surprised that usually my balls would tend to go a little deeper, and this one actually felt a little harder to get deeper. I think it was just maybe the tightness of the strings. Something, Harry always likes to do. I don't know what the hell he's doing usually, but it was tougher to play with, and it was not as tough to play with, but it was definitely harder to get the ball a little deeper. I think it's just due to the string tension, in my opinion. But like weight-wise, there's no weight change. Definitely not. It's just the playability was a little more interesting. It was just more, at least from my perspective, a bit tougher, but it did keep my balls in. It definitely kept my balls in, but it was going a little shorter than usual.
How was the spin on it?
The spin was actually a little easier, in my opinion.
Really?
I wasn't trying to hit spin, but I kept dipping.
Okay.
I think I wasn't like that more into like covering as much because of my other strings. If they get looser, of course you got to cover it a little more. But like when I was playing with it, I think for me it was just, it looked like my ball was a little it was a little like shorter and maybe some spin off of it. I'm not really sure. I couldn't really tell.
Okay.
But it just felt stiff. Like for me in general, it just felt stiff.
Got it. So do you remember a couple weeks ago? I went 2 pounds looser on the cross.
Yeah.
Right. So one unmarked, I kept normal. Your normal 53.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The one marked, I went 53 on the main,
and then
55 on the cross.
Yeah, I could tell a little bit. You know, this is why I don't
So I kept
understand.
your ball in the court.
I know.
I kept your ball in the court.
I actually made more balls, my guy. I don't know about you, but it looks like you
I'll
won
take credit
more
for
tennis.
it.
But yeah, I mean, I think it did feel tighter. I didn't notice it in the beginning, but when I was playing some points or some more like competitive points with Jerry, I was kind of shocked that some of my balls were landing shorter than usual, like on the runs and my typical shots I would try to go for. And I was like, okay, this is weird. It's kind of staying in a little longer, but it was just a bit harder to go around because of just maybe that cross was being a bit tense.
Right.
So therefore, I wasn't being more lenient with it.
Right.
So therefore, I had to go for it a little more, which is fine. I think it's a subtle change, if that makes sense. It's very subtle. When you start, at least in my level, when you start playing, you notice the differences, you just kind of work through it, and that's okay.
Right. So I noticed it immediately on mine. I was like, what's going on with my racket? Everything is falling a little shorter. I'm like, I'm at 55, 57. So you're adding even more to the cross, keeping it tighter and tighter woven is even going to be more difficult for me. I thought I was going to get more control. I got a little too much control and definitely negated a lot of the power. So I actually had to work a lot harder to get the ball over.
I think creating spin was a bit tougher. It was a bit tougher because I felt like my balls wasn't getting the same amount of elevation I was getting used to.
It makes you hit it flatter and through the.
You know what it reminds me of? It's like an unofficial 1820.
Yeah.
It's pretty much
more. Yeah.
It's a bit like you want a bit more drive in your ball without the spin. So that's what it feels like. Like for me, it's like an 1820 racket that like you got that dense feeling of driving it, but you lack the spin behind it.
I know that we did it on the same strings, like of the strings that we normally use.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people out there, they go like poly and gut and then go tighter on the gut, or go poly and multi and go tighter on the multi. We decided just to do it with whatever we use just to see how it would feel. We're not multi or really gut users.
We're not like hybrid users. Put it out there. But we stick with one string, and it does impact it. I mean, at least for you, it did definitely impact. For me, it did impact me a bit, but it was just more of a learning curve.
Right.
But afterwards, I got used to it.
Right. So it may be different for those of you who use a different cross, like a totally different string. But we wanted just to see how it would affect our string bed when we did that with our own strings. And definitely more control.
I think we both agreed it had more control, and just creating a bit of spin is a bit tougher. Yep. And that was pretty much it. I think the theme was it definitely gave us the control we wanted, but we lacked the spin aspect behind every shot we had.
Yeah. But not a bad test. If you could pick, would you choose 2 pounds tighter or 2 pounds looser?
2 pounds looser, definitely. I think it's just more because you get more control, and actually not control. You get more of that spin, and after you get used to it, it does feel pretty darn good.
Yeah, me too. 2 pounds looser, a little more launch, a little more spin. All right, Coach Gu, thank you for doing this test with me.
Of course.
I didn't jack your racket up too much this time.
Oh God.
Where can we find you?
Find me at AGU.tennis. I'll also be posting content there as well.
All right. Guys, thank you for watching Tennis Spin, where we put our spin on your tennis.